Today, we are lucky to have a servant leader with us, Ms. Barbara Bass. She has served as a mayor of Tyler for 6 years, helping with the Tyler's development and East Texas region. She also served as a chairman of the Tyler Economic Development Council, Chamber of Commerce, and Better Business Bureau of Central East Texas, and have been involved with critical economic decisions in the region of the past 20 years. Welcome, Barbara, to the interview.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, and I look forward to our conversation.
What persuaded you to be of service to your colleagues and community?
Well, I think that would go back to how I got involved in the community to start with. First of all, I was not born in Tyler, did not grow up here. So when I moved here as a young professional, starting my CPA accounting career, I needed to get involved. And I needed to meet people, to get engaged and involved in the community. So from the get-go, I started getting out to meet people through organizations and clubs and just general community service. The clubs I got involved in included the Zonta Club of Tyler. At that point in time, it was the only professional women's service club, or one of the few professional women service clubs in Tyler, similar to Rotary or Kiwanis. But at that point in time, they didn't have women members. And so that was my start of getting involved in the community, as well as I evolved in my CPA experience with my firm. I was encouraged to be involved, and at that point in time, I started getting involved in the Chamber of Commerce. The whole impetus behind that was to be engaged into our community, to be engaged in Tyler, and get out and meet other business people. And it was a way to get engaged and to meet people and become part of this community.
You have been a servant leader of this community for such a long time. Do you think it is a purposefully developed habit, a calling, or just something that comes naturally to you?
It's probably some combination of all of that. I think you've got to have a passion for what you're doing. You've got to have a desire to give back and to make the community or whatever you're involved in better, and really to know that the world is not about you, but what you can give back.
Awesome.
So it's very much giving from your heart and doing things that they make you feel good, definitely.
Yep.
But it's part of just getting involved and thinking that what you bring to the table will help make the whole project, the whole community, whatever, a better outcome, a better place to live, or just a better outcome.
In a newspaper article, you said, in Tyler, Texas, we will not lose our identity. Does this anything have to do with the focus on the citizens as one of the primary concerns, or why do you think not losing identity while going for developments is essential?
I think that particular article was in context to some downtown development. And what I've observed over time is that communities that lose their downtown, that's effectively the heart of the community. That's the nucleus that connects that community. So you can grow in any direction, but you still need that nucleus, that heart, to hold you together as a community. Okay. So I think that when we're working to develop our community, we really need to know our hearts, our value systems. And as we grow, that needs to include the people in our community to make sure that it's not something that's just about us, but again, it's about all of us coming together and making the community better, to make it stronger.
So you are particularly emphasizing on the community identity rather than individual.
In that particular example, it was the community identity of Tyler and what our community is and the values that we hold dear.
How much important do you think passion for serving has to do with the servant leadership?
I think the passion is critical. You've got to have the excitement, the energy. I can't imagine being involved in something on a volunteer basis, which is what we're normally talking about in serving the community, and not really caring and being passionate about what you're doing and how it impacts the greater good of the community. You get on board with your friends when they're in positions. You help them. When you get into those key roles, they're helping you. So it really is all about working together, and the so passion needs to be there.
Yeah.
You know,
you're passing on the passion to the.
You need to have passion, and you need to share that passion.
Okay. How has developing other people in their professional life helped with your success as a servant leader?
My helping develop other people is part of paying it forward, because when I came here not knowing anyone, it was the leaders then that invested in me. People that I met that they saw potential that maybe I didn't even see in myself at that time, just very young in my career. And they said, Barbara, you can do this. I think you have this ability. You have this capability. And they would bring me in to be involved. So in working with the younger community members and the emerging leaders, if you will, part of bringing them in is passing on that legacy of helping make sure that we always have leaders that are coming in to leadership, developing the ones behind us so that we always have a succession plan or an exit strategy or whatever it is for whatever we're moving toward.
How has building that trust with others helped your success as a leader?
I don't think I'd want to do business with anyone I didn't trust. And I think in our community involvement, we need to be working with people we trust. So over time, your credibility, your integrity, and your trust all go together in creating that identity of who you are. And if I have trust in you, then I'm more likely to be involved in what you're involved in or to help support you or encourage other people to do that.
What effect has your upbringing had on your leadership style?
Being the oldest of 5 children probably has had a lot of effect. I think I was born bossy. Maybe I grew into being a boss later. But that value of learning to be in a larger family, particularly, having those family dynamics, group dynamics, if you will, maybe that was the start of just learning to work as a group. I didn't always get my way. My siblings got their way sometimes. Right. I got my way sometimes. And learning just how to work as a group to get what we wanted and to get the results we wanted was probably a lot of that started with that family nucleus.
Research has shown that there are 10 key traits of servant leaders: empathy, listening, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment to the growth and development of the people, and building community. Which of these 10 traits do you relate to the most? I
would say that in a leadership position, you probably have a little bit of all of those, but I have worked to build community, to build collaboration, and bring people together to get whatever the need is accomplished. And so I think from the leadership perspective, I would say the building community or the collaboration of pulling the right people together at the same time to make things happen.
Joe LaRocca, the author of Servant Leadership in Workplace, identified 3 key priorities for servant leaders: developing people, building a trusting team, and achieving results. Which comes the top, according to you?
I think you need to pull your team together.
Okay.
And from there, you get the other folks involved and start developing them and sharing the vision so they can really catch the idea and the dream of what you're trying to accomplish. You've got to have the right leadership. You cannot do it by yourself. So having a team that can help you is critical to accomplishing anything.
So there are 3 critical practices which we see in servant leaders. One is listening, second is delegating, and third is connecting followers to a mission. So you were touch basing on that. You have developed a team and you have to relate it to them. So how these critical practices have helped you being successful in your career?
I think all 3 of those are very important. The listening, obviously, you need to know what everyone's thinking, listen to their ideas if you're trying to get anything accomplished. In developing any kind of plan, it needs to be a plan that represents what's needed as well as the ideas of everyone that's sharing and having input to it. And then in developing that plan, you need your team of not just the leaders, but everybody that's part of that team to help you make that happen. So the delegating, and if you have the right leaders, delegating and letting them do their job for their part of making that team a success will really get you further down the road. The micromanaging is just kind of doomed to fail. So the more you have people that you can delegate to and then just making sure that they're following through and doing their part, you're going to get a better results.
Talking about connecting followers to the mission, I read in one of newspapers article way back in 2010, you came up with something called Tyler Tree Initiative, and you have involved almost 550 volunteers involved into that initiative. And I know that you were talking about connecting to the mission and delegating and other things. And this is a great example of what you have done to the society as a sustainable project. So can you explain a little bit more about it? And why do you think connecting to the mission helped you in achieving that? The
Tyler Tree Initiative was just really great fun for the community overall. Trees, like humans, have life expectations, lifespans. So if you're doing a tree initiative, you're in a community that's trees all around, and so why do you even do one? But like I say, they have lifespans, so you want to make sure that you are always replacing and replenishing. The tree initiative was to bring the community together. We were in the Great Recession. The city was just virtually trying to break even on the budget and survive this downturn in the economy that started about the time I was elected mayor for our region in 2008. So the Tree Initiative helped us bring the community together, from elementary schools all the way up through high schools, from Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, young children that were taking their sack lunch so they could use their lunch money to donate to buy a tree. Mm-hmm. And it was just a beautiful example of an entire community to come together to make a difference in the future. It not only involved the public spaces with parks and governmental locations, but if you were building a new house and were having your landscaping done and planted a new tree in your yard, you could literally look at the website that was put together, find a small, medium, or large tree that would work for what you were doing, get it planted, and self-report what you did. Mm-hmm. With the engagement, particularly of those younger children. Mm-hmm. I had some parents say, my six-year-old or sixth grade child, anywhere in between, was saying, Mama, Daddy, we've got to go on the mayor's website and report our tree that we just planted so we get to count. Yep. It was the excitement, the passion, the engagement, and just the collaboration of the entire community in that process that not only gave us the ecological boost mm-hmm. of having trees that help filter and make our air more pure, but the overall community engagement of knowing we were doing something that was sustainable for the community.
On reconstructing the Harvey Hall Conference Center facility, and as well as revitalizing the historic Mayfair, you emphasized patience and dedication to a cause by saying that we finally talked among ourselves, and if we can't get it done with one mayor, 2 mayors, 3 mayors, it's time to get it done with 4 mayors. So is it that dedication or patience that pays off for a servant leader? Or is it some goal-oriented approach? I want to achieve this, how much time it takes doesn't matter to me. Is it that, what is really driving that for such a long time?
Yes, I think what's successful for Tyler is we develop a plan, a strategic plan for our community. And then we work that plan. To make that work, that plan has to evolve.
Right.
The other beauty of that plan is that if I don't get it accomplished in my term because we have term limits of no more than 6 years as mayor, then the next mayor can pick up and carry on that initiative. We have been wanting a better venue for conventions, a new convention center in Tyler for many years. Our former mayor, now former state senator, Kevin Eltife, started a process when he was mayor that went with the mayor prior to me, Joyce Sieber, and then I took on the initiative, and as we got started, the great what I wouldn't say pandemic, we're in that now, the Great Recession was hitting all around us, and everything just sort of came to a screeching halt of trying to repurpose Harvey Hall and create a convention center. By the time I was exiting as mayor, we had 18 acres of land out on South Broadway that's going to be a wonderful site for a convention center later, but just based on timing and economics, it's not come to fruition. So on our fourth mayor, Martin Hines, my successor, he finished a plan that's going to rebuild where Harvey Hall currently is into a whole convention center complex, with the Rose Garden being a real key part of that, and really showing the beauty of Tyler there near the convention center. So that 1, 2, 3, 4 mayors, I think, represents Tyler's view on staying focused, on having a plan for our community that's not just about me or you coming in today and totally upending and having our personal agendas, but having the greater vision of what Tyler needs and how to get there as a community.
So it's more like achieving the greater good. We have you have to sacrifice sometimes our personal goals and other things and see the bigger picture. And that's what servant leaders do when it has to be transferred to generation. It's for the
greater good of the community and the longer-term vision and really the longevity of this community.
Oh, great.
Of building on the past and then continuing to build that foundation to make it stronger.
3 fundamental principles: serve first, persuasion, and empowerment. Which one do you relate to most?
I would say serve first. Because if I'm not there doing my part, I can't persuade or empower anybody else. So it's important for me to be part of the success and part of the greater good of what's happening in this community.
So you think that how has this serve first, helped you successful, you think?
As I mentioned, when I came here in 1977, I was new to the community. I was also one of the few women that was in a leadership role, starting to get involved in the community. I ended up being the first chair of the Chamber of Commerce, the second chair of the Economic Development Council, on the Better Business Bureau board. Many of those were first for a woman professional in our community, as strange as it sounds today. But part of being first meant that I was walking into a room where I knew 1 or 2 people or maybe no one. And that serving meant showing up. You can't serve until you show up. So showing up and then volunteering to be engaged to help in whatever the need was very foundational and very critical to my getting involved in the community. And I think that is for all of us. You can't accomplish anything if you're not there first. You've got to be there, and you've got to be willing to serve, be there for the right reasons, and not some personal agenda of what you can get out of it. Show up, put your heart in it, and make a difference.
Who are some other servant leaders you know in the Tyler community?
We have servant leaders all over Tyler. We have the mayors that I've worked with in the past, council members, the parents and volunteers who help with the school programs or student development programs, whether it's working with baseball, soccer, to really get out there and help the young people develop. Everywhere around you can look and you can see servant leaders in this community. We can all be involved in making a difference. You may want to be on a committee or involved and want to be just a worker bee in your mind, but you're critical to the success. Or you may want to step into those leadership positions and just feel like you can develop more as a person and have a lot more to give that way than maybe some other way. But we all have the potential. You have to show up first.
You have to show up first. How mentorship has helped in your leadership?
The mentorship, from the time I got there, I mentioned those people that saw something in me that maybe I didn't see myself early on in my career. Whether you're in a role where someone's mentoring you or you have the opportunity to mentor someone else, that's important to you as an individual, but it's also important to our community to continue to offer those opportunities. So when I was just getting started, I remember the first time that one of the chamber directors came to me and said, "We need you to chair this committee. You've served on this committee for a couple of years, and we see that you're willing to step up and to take charge and to help when needed, so we want you to actually chair that committee." That mentorship was the start of me not just chairing that Chamber of Commerce committee, but also chairing others, and then eventually going to the next level of chairing councils, as they call them, under the Chamber of Commerce, where you have multiple committees with a primary focus, say business development or transportation in our community. So you chair at the next level, and then that gave me the opportunity to be asked to serve on the executive board of the Chamber, and ultimately coming up to be the chair of the Chamber. All of that was because of the mentoring and the little nudges and the little encouragement along the way that I had with the people around me. And folks that I didn't work with on a professional level, but I had met through just getting involved in the community, and they saw the capabilities they thought I had and the ability to lead. And at that point in time, I really didn't even see it in myself. So that mentoring can have just a profound effect on a person if you'll just reach out and use what you know in your experience to open some doors from them, give them those words of encouragement. The mentorships, whether they're formal mentorships where you've actually asked someone to be your mentor, or whether they're just informal where you're reaching out with that encouragement and attaboys, attagirls, and just nudging that professional, that younger professional to grow and develop, can be life-changing. And I would say that if you're in those positions and you feel like there's someone that you would like to encourage, do it. It can make a huge difference in the way their life goes.
To end this, one thing I learned very specifically from this interview is to show up first and be ready to serve. And that quality in her has received several recognitions. And I'm mentioning few of them only. It's a long list. She was awarded T.B. Butler Award as Tyler's Most Outstanding Citizen. She got Distinguished Citizen Award from East Texas Council of Boy Scouts of America, Laureate of Year Business Hall of Fame from Junior Achievement, W.C. Windsor Award for Outstanding Community Service from Tyler Area of Chambers, and the list goes on. What do you see for the future of Tyler?
Tyler, as I've mentioned, has historically been great at developing new leaders. As long as we continue in reaching back and giving the younger community members that want to be engaged the tools to grow into leadership, we will always be great. The challenge is for you and me, in our role as leaders, Venu, to do our job. As long as we do, then we're leaving our footprint and encouraging the next generation to do the same.
The key takeaway, show up and be ready to serve. Thank you.
You will make a difference.
You will make a difference. Thank you.